is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN, 9 a.m. Eastern Time Monday morning. We got about 24 minutes until the start of trading for the week, and we got markets kicking off positive territory to start things off. S&P's up about 18 points right now at 41.92. We're within about 20 points of all-time highs that we had Thursday last week, 42.11. A little bit of volatility in both directions. Dow up 166 points this morning, 33,934. We get the NASDAQ up 51 points, NASDAQ 100. As I mentioned in the update, we're sitting right at the previous highs we had, 13,900 in the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell catching a bid, up about 20 points at 22.81. Bitcoin continuing to bounce off the lows. We were just above 59,000, 58,830. You got crude up 16 pennies at 63.75. Gold catching a bid, 17.86 for the price of gold. Silver accelerating higher as well. You got silver, look at that pop, up about 63 cents right now at 26.50. The 10-year up 3 ticks right now, 132.04. You got the 30-year up 8 ticks, 157.16, and the VIX in the low 18s, I believe. Yeah, we got a spike to 1803 as I was doing that update. We're sitting at about 1850 right now. A little bit of elevated levels last week when we go from about a 16 handle pre-market on Thursday, and we accelerate all the way up to a 19 handle towards the end of Friday action. Let's take a look at some of the FANG stocks as we kick things off. They were all the highlight last week. Talk about giving it back some on some staggering numbers to the upside. You had Apple crushing it out of the park Wednesday night on their earnings. You spiked to 139.50. You gave it all back on Apple by like 9:45 in the morning. Remarkable, right? When you think about the type of numbers that they put out, we give it all back. This morning looks to open a little bit positive, but the news out there on Friday as well, talking about the EU coming after Apple for antitrust concerns. And then Amazon was the main event on Thursday. Amazon took a little bit longer throughout the day. It took the whole day on Friday to give back all those gains, but Amazon basically closed in flat for the session on Friday after they also crushed it out of the park. You have Amazon up slightly this morning as well. Microsoft, one of the companies that disappointed a bit last week. And interesting, almost the other way of a trend, right? You have Microsoft out with their numbers. You accelerate lower. We see a continued decline when you got all the tech stocks selling off on Thursday. That was a real acceleration to lower prices. You basically have Microsoft sitting right where we were when they come out with their numbers, 250, 290, and Google to the upside in a big way. Google holding on to those gains above 2,400, trading right now at 24.16, closed at 24.10. as of Friday. All right, what do we got going on? One of the headlines out there, interesting, more so than anything else, you have Verizon. Disclosure, I have some Verizon. My mom worked for Verizon before retiring. She's got some Verizon out there. Strong company, strong dividend company out there, especially. You have Verizon up about 35 cents on the news that they are selling two of the biggest media companies in the world, AOL and Yahoo, two of the biggest media companies in the world 20 years ago, right, for $5 billion. Remarkable when you think about the ebbs and flows of some of these companies. They were two of the biggest folks out there 20 years ago when the internet was just coming to be. Verizon sells them to Apollo for $5 billion. The market liking that a bit. You have Verizon up a bit. The unit will be known as Yahoo after the close of the transaction, expected in the second half of the year, Verizon said. And let's see, they're going to keep their CEO of the media group. Verizon's going to maintain a 10% stake, so they're going to still keep their hand in the cookie jar a bit, just for a little bit of exposure. With the sale, Verizon's unloading the remnants of an ambitious but distracting, that's one way to call it, foray into online advertising. Last year, the telecom giant agreed to sell the HuffPost online to BuzzFeed, and in 2019, it sold Tumblr. I mean, think about some of those names. HuffPost, Tumblr, Yahoo, Verizon. Remarkable in a big way. I was chatting with some friends this morning, and let me see if I can pull up the article that they sent me real quick, because just even as it's been a slow, long ride for these companies to basically extinction, and I mean, you even had Microsoft coming in thinking about buying these companies 10 to 12 years ago. You're talking about almost, and give me 1 second here, 44.6. Yes, perfect. Here's the article. So this is an article from February of 2008. So we're going back 13 years ago. Microsoft bids $44.6 billion to buy Yahoo. This did not work out. I'm sure Microsoft is happy. If it had worked out, maybe it's a different story. Maybe Yahoo is not the has-been company that it is today. But Microsoft, even in 2008, was offering to buy Yahoo for almost $50 billion. They were thinking about using them in the same way, maybe some advertising. That was representing a 62% premium over the close at that time. The article makes reference in this that price would only be about a quarter of what the company was worth at the height of the dot-com bubble in 2000. Well, yeah, they just got sold for 1/10 what it was worth in this article in 2008. Just goes to show you, folks, things change, right? The domination that we're seeing in some of these tech companies, and I don't see any of them waning anytime soon, but you always want to be aware of, does this company serve a purpose that is irreplaceable over the next 10 to 20 years? Many times in technology, that's just not the case. Facebook is the juggernaut of all juggernauts, but you always hear the stories, right? When people are younger, in social media, they're just the first one that comes to mind, because what role does Facebook serve in our society in 20 years? Yes, they're probably still around, but if they're only servicing those older demographics and the younger demographics are going to, now Facebook has Instagram, which gets the youngers as well, but when you have Snapchat, you have TikTok, the likes, it's just interesting to try and wrap your brain around some of those, because Yahoo and AOL, there were no two bigger companies at the height of the internet boom than those two, and they're basically non-existent entities 20 years later. When they almost started the whole deal, folks, AOL was getting everybody on the internet. We all, if you're old enough, unfortunately I am, remember those AOL CDs. Just crazy action in terms of thinking about every single household was getting AOL CDs every single day mailed to their house, trying to get them to sign up to get them on the internet, right? AOL got people on the internet. Yahoo was the first portal of the internet almost, and now they don't even exist because they got passed by the wayside by competition. But $5 billion, they'll go to Apollo, and Verizon shareholders probably happy to unload that a bit up to 58.14 this morning on that news. Estee Lauder out with their numbers this morning. They are not selling the type of expensive products that they used to. Some of the most premium products that they sell, not selling like they expected, because people just aren't back to work. When you talk about the high end of things, people really spending a lot of money on the way they look, their dress, maybe their pocketbooks, their wallets, the accessories that they have. Estee Lauder, we'll get into their numbers after the break, but this morning you go from 325, we're under 300, so you're down about 4 to 5% this morning on their numbers. You put this thing on a daily, though. It's been a rocket ship from 158. You put it on a 3-year weekly to find the COVID lows, as I call them, 137. Prior to COVID, we're trading at 220. So, yeah, it's a pullback, but this morning we're trading, give or take, right at around $300. All things considered, been quite a banner year for Estee Lauder. We'll dig into their numbers when we get back from the break. Big week of earnings coming up. We'll talk about some of the companies we got from earnings going on. We'll talk about non-farm payrolls on Friday. Got some wide expectations on non-farm payrolls. One analyst out there got a number over 2 million. See what happens. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Golden ratios give shape to everything in our world, represented in the Fibonacci sequence. These special numbers define the patterns that make up our universe. Not even markets can escape the omnipotence of these ratios. Larry Pesavento is a 45-year market veteran who has published nearly a dozen books on the powerful patterns we find in nature and their relationships with the ever-elusive markets. Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, will teach you to harness the power of these natural golden ratios in order to create successful trades. Fibonacci 24/7 is designed to teach the tools you need to identify and act on these undeniable and reoccurring patterns. Sign up for Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, and you will also receive free access to his trading webinar, Trading Strong Trending Markets. Try out Larry's newsletter risk-free. All of TFNN's newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
If you're not currently using the Taz Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The Taz Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, Taz understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the Taz Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the Taz Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live, and had access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got about 12 minutes to go until the opening bell. We got markets inching up slightly positive. S&P is up almost 21 points right now. The Dow up 185. Russell up 23. You have the gold contract right now up more than $20 at $17.88. The high of last week, $17.89.90, I believe. Let's back it up to make sure. Yes, it sure is. You have to go back to really the acceleration we saw on the previous Friday, a little bit of a sell-off. We're right near the highs we had last week of $17.88 in the price of gold. All right, what else we got going on? And where did I want to start? How about earnings? And we'll kick it off with, let me pull up this graphic I got ready here from, and it is a CNBC graphic that I grabbed, but it does a good job of representing what we got coming up this week. So, earnings-wise, Estee Lauder, we jumped to them. We got Merck as well. Pfizer tomorrow, CVS, DuPont, T-Mobile. We get GM, PayPal. Thursday's a big one. They're going to get a lot of press. Roku, talk about a headline stock. Peloton, AMC, and Viacom, all been in the press many times recently. And then we get non-farm payrolls on Friday. The numbers for non-farm payrolls on Friday, going to be a big number. That's for sure. It better be. Nothing's for sure, actually. But the market is thinking it's going to be a big number. But how big is it going to be? That's the real question. When you get into that, there's some estimations talking about potentially 700,000 jobs added all the way up to 2.2 million. A Jefferies analyst out there, I believe, 2.2 million in a big way in that. Okay. Let's jump down to some of the stocks we got moving this morning. So we talked about Estee Lauder, quarterly earnings of $162 a share, 30 cents above estimates. Revenue, though, slightly below forecast. And as I mentioned, higher-end products were impacted by people continuing to work from home, and they're trading down lower this morning. DraftKings, they get an upgrade this morning to outperform at Cohen from market perform. Robust path to legalization for the industry and upbeat prospects for both growth and increase in market share. DKNG is their symbol, DKNG, and it does. I mean, there's a huge continuation in terms of the gambling spectrum out there in terms of what's going to happen. Now, it's really interesting when you talk about what's happening, especially in the state of Florida. I had an article out here. Just Florida gambling deal with the Seminole tribe faces legal questions. So this is getting into Florida's action. You have the state and the Seminole tribe reaching a deal in April 23rd. Okay, after years of legal wrangling, the failed attempts, you have the governor and the tribe nailing down a gambling agreement to bring sports betting to the state and rake in at least $2.5 billion into the state coffers within 5 years. But the complicated 30-year pact faces significant hurdles before Florida residents and visitors legally could whip out their phones and place bets. State lawmakers would have to sign off on the agreement, and the U.S. Department of the Interior also has to authorize the deal. I believe that's because you're dealing with the Seminole tribe, where then you bring in the U.S. Department of the Interior because they handle when you're dealing with the tribes and their sovereign land and how that plays out. And this is the interesting part here, because I don't understand this one. In addition, experts are divided about whether the Florida Constitution requires a statewide voter approval to legalize sports betting. Other lawyers believe the proposed compact could run afoul of federal law. Florida is a legal landmine. We just passed, which is interesting, a constitutional amendment, which I'm pretty sure says any more gambling, and it might just have to do with land-based casinos is where they're going to get around this, has to be voted on by the constituents, and that's where I'm not sure of how they're going to get around this in terms of that. But they have a lot to talk about in terms of getting that through. It's just the beginning, but as you can see, folks, it is progressing in a big way. Even in a state like Florida, we're worried about protecting our tourists, so they don't want to build casinos. But guess what? They're going to try and open up sports betting. For those of you out there, you know that I play some poker, online poker especially. I hope they get that into these things as well, folks, because online poker is a skill-based game, folks. Everything, you have some short-term luck. I'm personally biased as a poker player, but I can tell you, being around the game of poker when I was a lot younger, in my younger days, I played a tremendous amount of it. And it's a skill-based game. And it's unfortunate that you're seeing all of these sports betting sites go up in magnificent fashion. Whereas, yes, there are some certain people that can make money sports betting, but the VIG, the house take, is so substantial in sports betting that it is very difficult for you to have a skill advantage to overcome the house take. That's where things differ, right? You just have to be better than the next guy or girl when they're setting that line. But the VIG is so tremendous. The house take is so tremendous from every wager that you're placing that if you even have a skill advantage, you have to have such an advantage to overtake that house take that it's very difficult to do, versus in poker, not the same scenario at all. We'll see how it plays out. Nonetheless, though, a good industry to be in. Gambling is not going away, folks. We got DraftKings. They're up more than $1.20 this morning. You see the acceleration. Let's put them on a 5-minute to see that, from about 56.11 on Friday to 57.90. You've had Penn National. They're the ones with Barstool Sports. They're getting a lift this morning on that as well, from 89 to about 90.57. Long term, yeah, both of these, great future prospects, but just like anything else, folks, doesn't mean, this thing really got ahead of itself. If you were buying anywhere near 120, boom, you just lost 25% of your position. You're trading at 90.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Siri just thought I was talking to her. She's listening. Shame on her. You're back to where you were December 16th on Penn, and DraftKings will jump around. DraftKings right now, you're back to pretty similar territory. Look at DraftKings. We're back to actually where we were in September in DraftKings. 56.66. We were just trading at 74.38. All these stocks getting a little bit ahead of themselves in the gambling sector. All right, what else we got going on? Where were we? Is that the one I wanted? Yes, it is. There we go. Stocks making moves. We talked about Verizon as well. So Berkshire, here's a good segue. We'll jump to, there were a bunch of headlines coming out for Berkshire. They had their annual meeting this weekend. You had Warren Buffett. He points to his successor, which is getting all the headlines, probably rightfully so, with the age he has, which Charlie Munger in that company, not quite sure who is going to succeed him. That news is out there as well we'll get into. But the one that caught me most was Buffett talking about SPACs and how they're a killer, making Berkshire less competitive. Something to consider if you're thinking about investing in Berkshire or you have some money in Berkshire. It's one of the reasons why Buffett has had a hard time finding those kind of sweet deal investments that he was the king of when markets would come calling for cash, and he would get these sweetheart deals of, maybe it's shares, convertible shares with a loan, all of these big shares when companies were in dire need. He was the one with the cash. It's just not the case anymore. Buffett It acknowledged the pressure from Spats as Berkshire Saturday said that it had a near record pile of cash at the end of March, with almost $150 billion in cash. He can't find an investment good enough to spend it on right now, and especially when you have a time where you have all of these SPACs popping up with just funds available anytime they need it. So there's a lot more competition in the market for people who provide funding, like Berkshire was the king of when they would get all those sweet deals. He also spent part of the annual meeting Saturday addressing the recent boom in retail and day trading. A lot of people have entered the stock market casino over the past year. He said, this part I don't agree with at all. You know, you got all these Wall Street titans basically just speaking down to retail investors, saying that they don't know how to trade. They're walking into a casino. Folks, it's you know, there's a lot of bright people out there that know exactly what they're doing getting into this, that it is a casino, all right? And when you're trading short term, you better believe that there's some high stakes out there. Pretty similar to gambling. You just got to have the positive expectation. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back for the opening bell.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den trading room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets positive, trending higher. We have the S&P futures up 23 points, 41.97. The Dow up 198. Just finishing off with DraftKings. DraftKings out with their earnings Friday as well. I wanted to touch on May 7th. Out with their earnings, DraftKings. Right now, you're talking about basically almost a $4 move we're looking at on DraftKings with their numbers. We're trading right now at 57.44. Okay, jumping into Friday's action. So we get non-farm payrolls on Friday. When you look at the analyst estimates, so we got a CNBC article out here. April's employment report scheduled to release Friday. The market's expecting a big number. Economists say payrolls in April could easily reach 1 million. So we had 916,000 jobs added in March. Now we got a bunch of earnings this week. I'm going to go over those as well. But the main event is definitely non-farm payrolls on Friday morning at 8:30 in the morning. Estimates range from 700,000. That's a pretty nice low-end number, to a forecast of 2.1 million from Jefferies economists. According to the Dow Jones, we're looking at consensus forecasts of 978,000 among economists. The unemployment rate expected to fall to 5.8%. Now, the number that you really want to watch as Chairman Powell watches the economy, as he watches this economy rebound, is straight-up jobs. That's it. Now, they're going to be looking at inflation as well. Those PCE numbers, those are big numbers as well. But we get non-farm payrolls on a monthly basis on Friday, and we need to make up about 8 million jobs right now from where we were prior to COVID. If you see a gangbuster number here, this is what they get into a little bit in this article, the market may freak out, folks. I'm just, exaggerating a little bit. But you better believe that if we start really ramping up these numbers, okay, there will be the fear, rightfully so, in my opinion, that the Fed's going to have to ease, whether it's their bond buying first, right? That would be really the fear, that the Fed would ease their bond buying quicker than the market thinks they will. If we start adding 1 to 2 million jobs per month on non-farm payroll numbers, and folks, this is at a time when the cases are still spreading. Florida, we're still seeing some pretty substantial numbers down here. And so we have to get over that hump. But if we're seeing 1 to 2 million jobs this month, what is the month of May going to be like, and June as we come into the summer, those summer service months, right? I mean, the summer, whether it's restaurants, travel, et cetera, the likes. All the news reported over the last couple of weeks has been about rental car companies. They sold off a lot of their inventory to stay alive during the depths of the pandemic. Things are rebounding, and they can't even come close to keeping up with demand because people want to travel, rent the car, the likes, and they've depleted some of that. Nonetheless, folks, it's going to be dramatic. Now, when you get into what the Fed does, and this is where, we talk about here. So we have one quote is, next week's all about the jobs number, because as part of the Fed's path to substantial progress on their two roles, we'll see how much further along the path we are on next Friday. We're going to get a big number, folks. You almost can't overstate it. The Fed is expected a temporary period of high inflation. We'll see how that plays out. But the market's focus on the Fed's bond program makes the jobs report even more important, as this article discusses, and I agree. If the central bank starts to taper back those asset purchases, it would then signal it would be on the path toward raising interest rates. Most economists do not expect the Fed to raise rates before 2023. That one's a little debatable right now. I know there's some articles last week talking about maybe coming in towards the end of 2022. But it's going to get murky if we start getting some gangbuster numbers. So it's really interesting, the dichotomy that we're going to be dealing with here in some of these numbers. Yes, we want the economy to come roaring back. I mean, we would love to see a number like Jefferies puts out there of 2 million plus jobs added in the month of April. It's going to be especially interesting if we get a number like 2 million jobs added, folks. Watch out in this market, because this market may freak out over the fact that we're going to rebound a lot quicker than everyone thinks or thought in the past. And that's been the case, right? The case has been things were not as dire as we all feared, and they're coming back quicker than we had hoped. If that trend continues, it would likely lead to the fact of the Fed trimming purchases of bonds quicker than we had anticipated as well. That would make sense. Everything else is kind of ahead of schedule, at least over the last year. And if that happens, folks, watch out, because this market is not ready anytime soon right now for rising rates or rising yields or the Fed pulling their assistance and their support. But we get to wait till Friday to see if that happens. Okay, what else we got going on in terms of stocks making moves this morning? Let's jump down the path. Moderna. Those shares are up 2.9%. Moderna's got their earnings this week as well, but the acceleration this morning has to do with the fact, whoops, I just scrolled up, is that Moderna, they struck a deal to provide 500 million COVID-19 vaccine doses to low and middle income countries through a United Nations-backed program. So not bad, 500 million vaccines they'll be providing there. Those shares are trading higher. Moderna shares, mRNA is their symbol. There's a pop up about 5%. This stock, you put it on a daily, we're pushing right up to these highs, folks, from February. That high, we're looking at 189.26. Today, we're trading literally at the tick high right now, almost at 188.15 from Moderna. Talk about some volatility, though, right? I mean, this stock, since November, has been on a roller coaster. You go from 100 to 180, back to almost 100, back above 180 to 120 to 160 to 120. We're sitting at 188.50. But it's all been good news for Moderna. It's all been good news for Pfizer as well. Now, Moderna, they're out with their numbers on Thursday, and Pfizer is going to be out with their numbers tomorrow. Pfizer, we're trading at 39.34, up about 1.8% with the market right now positive. Pfizer, the high of 43.08. All right, what else we got going on? Let's jump down the line. We'll jump around. Tilray's, I guess, positive today. They're up 1%. I mean, really, we get some big earnings coming down the line, as I talked about. And then we get, of course, non-farm payrolls on Friday. And to tie back to the successor for Buffett real quick, because you will see this headline out today. Greg Abel. So interesting, right? I'm not really familiar with Greg Abel. He is, what is he? He's the vice chairman of non-insurance businesses. Interesting, because insurance, such a big part of that business, but he would likely be the successor if Buffett steps down. You'll see that one everywhere because everyone's been waiting for that headline. We'll see how that plays out. But the bigger one there for me was just Buffett talking about it's difficult to do business with his business plan of providing cash to struggling companies when you have so many other opportunities for those companies to raise funds and the likes of SPACs and so forth. All right, what else we got going on? Let's check around some of the companies that we have. So we got Peloton, Roku, and one other company Thursday, Beyond Meat. Let's jump to those real quick. So Peloton, and again, talk about getting ahead of itself, folks. You know, it's really tough to chase stocks on the upside, especially with the runs we've had. I mean, look at the pain. Look at the type of exposure that so many people were in the stock like Peloton, right? Up to 171. You're back under 100 right now. You put this thing on a 3-year weekly. The full run, we've backed down to that same 382 area that we had at first. You actually accelerated much higher to 171. We've backed right to that 93.50 area. Now, Peloton, rightfully so. We've had some real volatility in the stock. They were out with their numbers Thursday. They're talking about an $8 move that they'll be coming out with their numbers there. Roku has had some volatility recently as well. Roku, a $342 stock. You're talking about about an 8%, 9% pop. Or excuse me, not pop, move expected on their earnings. Roku, they've been in the press a lot. Now, I'm a huge fan of Roku personally in terms of we got Rokus everywhere in the house. That's how we do cable. But it is interesting. You keep seeing these headlines coming out, right? I guess Roku, you're not going to be able to stream YouTube TV on there anymore. We have Spectrum. They already had some trouble closing the Spectrum deal, allowing the Spectrum app on Roku. Interesting to see what kind of guidance they give going forward for Roku with their numbers this week. Stay tuned, folks.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets hanging on to positive territory gains. We have the Dow really catching a bid. Check out that Dow, 34,038 on the futures, up about 272 points right now. You got the Russell up more than a full percent, up 25 points. Tech stocks pulling back a little bit. NASDAQ 100 up 24 points right now, but you see the acceleration right on the opening bell. We trade lower to 13,872, and we get the S&Ps basically sitting flat after a little bit of a trade lower, as in flat from the open. 41.95 right now in the S&Ps. We'll jump around to Estee Lauder, as we talked about. So sales fall short despite hints of travel rebound. It'll be really interesting there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, folks. It's an interesting time to be alive, interesting time to be in the market, to say the least. Third quarter sales came in short of analyst estimates despite early signs of travel bouncing back. Sales rose in every region but did not meet expectations, with demand for makeup still stifled as customers don't see many occasions to wear cosmetics like lipstick. Global net sales for the period rose 16% to $3.86 billion, or 13% excluding currency fluctuations. Resurgencies in COVID-19 cases have also caused temporary shutdowns in stores. You're talking about UK, Japan, Canada, France, Brazil. We hear the stories, folks. You know, the U.S. making some headway with vaccinations, but areas of the country, the world, not so much the case. Estee Lauder, we'll see if this is the first indication of some of these companies. Now, we've seen staggering companies reporting across the board on earnings this season already, but Estee Lauder holding on to those losses right now, down about 5%. As I talked about earlier in the show, though, folks, all things considered, you're talking about a stock sitting basically right near the highs that we made just in the last month of $300 for Estee Lauder. Okay, jumping around to what else we got going on, and where are we in terms of the vaccinations? The U.S., there's an article out there in the New York Times today, just a different way to think about things as we come into the market and how this will play into things. So the headline was out there, I think last night I saw it popping out there. What's the print on this, the time? Did I get the time on there? May 3rd at 3 in the morning. So yeah, maybe I saw it come over last night late. But unfortunately, it goes to herd immunity. Unlikely in the U.S., maybe potentially. Vaccine hesitancy, folks. I encourage you, if you know people out there, let them know. It is safe. It is effective. It's the only way we'll get past this thing completely. But already we're starting to make estimations of managing this virus, and a lot of it has to do with, at least in the country, of vaccine hesitancy. Now, what they get into here as well is early on, right? When you talk about where we were, now right off the bat, we see the declining number as we've peaked out, basically going back to April 14th was peak day. We were averaging about 3.3 million shots a day. This in the U.S. We're down to about 2.4. And the article from the Times out there early this morning talks about that originally the estimates were pushing things at about 60 to 70% was the number. I'm trying to find the exact text, and we're all familiar with it, right? We've heard the number out there saying that maybe we needed about 60 to 70% of numbers. Here we go. Early on, target for herd immunity threshold estimated to be about 60 to 70%. But now what's going on, folks, that estimate, everything is changing, right? I always see people talking about, what is the efficacy of the first shot of Pfizer? Well, maybe it's 75%, maybe it's 80% even that first shot, but we're not sure because there's different variants. Everything is so fluid right now. But what happens is that those early estimations of herd immunity needing 60 to 70% of people being vaccinated had to do with the strains we had at that time. Well, the dominant strain now in the United States is called B117. That was the one that was first identified in the UK, in Britain. That strain is 60% more transmissible than the original strain. If you have a more transmissible strain, you need a greater threshold of vaccination, which now has to reach 80%. All right, now, folks, as somebody that just had a newborn, he turned 3 months yesterday, gotta love it, he does not have the choice to get vaccinated. So everybody loves to say this thing that, well, you don't have to worry about me getting vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you'll be fine. Folks, there's children all over the country, all right? There's people who don't have the option to get vaccinated for various reasons, all right? Maybe it's their own the system that can't handle it, whatever they're dealing with in life health-wise, okay? I encourage you, if you have the option, if you know people, encourage them as well, because it's unfortunate, as somebody with a newborn right now, that I'm surrounded by people in Florida that don't want to get the vaccine. And I understand there are real fears out there, but I also understand that it's pretty selfish that you're not going to get the vaccine and then you're going to continue to want to be around people who don't have the option themselves. It's frustrating, folks. I got a newborn. We got cases everywhere in Florida right now. All right. Life is getting back to normal. I'm vaccinated. I feel great. Just consider that, folks, because it's very frustrating that people are choosing to remain a potential carrier and not caring enough about the vulnerable people around them in their life that don't have that option. Children, most importantly. Florida, we got a lot of cases, and it's harsh news, but that's the reality of where we are right now. You got about 30% of the population at least reluctant to get vaccinated. You have a more transmissible strain out there. So it's going to be something we have to manage, and we'll see if that actually weighs on the economy and we don't get the grand opening we think, right? I mean, just play into, and we're bringing this back to the market, folks. It's a public service deal too, but it's back to the market, all right? I am a resident of Florida. I'm not going to feel comfortable bringing my kids everywhere in Florida while they're unvaccinated when I have a bunch of anti-vaxxers running around Disney, okay? Do you see how that plays out? Okay? So that's a big part of things when you think about the economy. Because, yes, life is much better than it was a year ago, okay? But you have to tie back that whole deal. Because I have 2 young kids in my house. We got a 4-year-old and I got a 3-month-old, okay? And the amount of proud people not getting vaccinated thinks it's no big deal is very unfortunate. And you're seeing the impacts already with the fact that we can't reach herd immunity, all right? And we have 5,000 plus cases a day in Florida. And that is going to impact how I behave as an economic person, as a person, as a part of the economy right now when you're in there, folks. It's going to impact it, period. End of sentence, okay? Maybe we'll get there as these numbers play out. Maybe in the next month, there's enough people that we bring it down to a level that I'm comfortable putting those kids out there that don't have an option on their own. But I just don't get it, folks. Be an adult. Listen to the science. Don't listen to the BS out there on the internet. And hopefully we get over this thing. Because it's frustrating. That's my life. I got kids, folks, and they don't have a choice. Most of us do out there. So I encourage you to take that choice, especially if you want to be around those children. I don't understand people who make a choice for themselves not to get vaccinated, and then they think it's normal business just to run around children in the state of Florida, especially where we got about 5,000 plus cases a day. How that plays out in the market, we're going to find out, folks, because I'm telling you, I'm a market contributor in terms of spending money in the economy, and I am not quite completely comfortable yet with where we are because of the levels of proud anti-vaccinations going on right now. So we'll see how that plays out. But the market, they're waiting for real numbers. It's all optimism right now. We get the S&Ps up right now 24 points, and the Dow just continuing to rock. Look at this acceleration in the Dow. 34,092 right now. You put the Dow on a daily, we're going to be pushing all-time highs, basically 34,144. So you're talking about 50 points away from that level right now in the Dow, 34,095. All right, folks, stay tuned. Let's check out the VIX. We're going to come back from this break, finish up the show. We get the VIX trading at 1818 right now. Pull up the 15-minute, a little bit of a dive from where we were, almost approaching the lows of Friday of 18. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be right back after the break.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave. Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps right at 4,200 right now. Markets continuing to slide upward. We have the NASDAQ 100 up about 40 points and the Dow up 327 right now. We'll jump to commodities. Crude up 62 pennies at 64.20. Crude continuing to accelerate higher. And how about gold? Up $25, $17.93. We're above last week's high now in gold. That high made basically late Wednesday night on gold, $17.89. We're as low as $17.54. When you back it up to where we were on Thursday, we'll jump to Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin holding about 58,000. An article up here on Bitcoin talking about Ether Not familiar myself. I've heard of it before. Hits $3,000, and I would question this one as Bitcoin's crypto dominance declines. So Bitcoin's share of crypto market cap now under 50%. But folks, be careful as you get too far away from the mainstream of some of these cryptos, because there's only one Bitcoin. There's only one Ethereum. Ether looks to be main stage as well. But, man, if you're thinking about playing with Dogecoin, you better have some quick fingers, folks, because, yes, the volatility is there. As a trader, you got to love it. You can make a killing on some of those cryptos. But if you ask me where Dogecoin ends up in the long run, and the long run in crypto could be in like 6 months or it could be in 6 years, I think Dogecoin ends up at $0 and 0 pennies. So keep that in mind, folks, as you're out there, because there's a lot of risk in some of these. But as we all know as traders, can't have a big reward without a little risk. And so traders loving those crypto markets. Bitcoin holding steady at about 58,000 right now. We'll jump to gold up, as I said, $25 at $17.92. And notes and bonds checking in, holding pretty steady at about 132.05 right now. You're talking about a 10-year yield. We're kicking off the week with a 10-year yield of about 1.624% right now. We have China, I believe, closed right now. I think you have Japan closed as well for holidays, so a little bit light on some of the international trading out there for the overnight session. All right, folks, Monday trading. We got our man Basil Chapman coming up next with the Tiger Technicians Hour. Fast Market by TD Ameritrade Network at 11. Our man Larry Pesavento with Trade What You See from noon till 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Of course, Steve Rhodes at 1, Dave White at 2, Tom O'Brien, my dad, live from 3 till 4. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Start your day with me. Stay tuned. Live programming all day at TFNN. We'll be right back.